Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chasing a Murder. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the new trial coming up involving Brandon Boudreaux. So, a trial concerning an alleged plot to kill Brandon Boudreaux is coming up, with the opening statements expected on June 2nd. Defendant in the case is the woman that belonged to a zombie cult, Lori Vallow Daybell, also known as the Doomsday Mom. She's representing herself for a second time. Charges against Lori Vallow Daybell relate to conspiracy to commit murder. Prosecutors allege that on October 2019, Lori Vallow Daybell and her brother, her protective angel, Alex Cox, planned to kill Brandon Boudreaux. Court documents indicate that Cox drove a Jeep belonging to Lori's deceased husband, Charles Vallow, miles from Idaho to Utah in order to carry out this attack. Brandon Boudreaux, who was driving home from the gym at the time, separated from Lori Vallow's niece, Melenie Boudreaux Pawlowski. What he didn't know is inside the back of that Jeep lied Alex Cox with a gun pointed directly at his head. It's alleged that Alex Cox pulled the trigger but missed Brandon Boudreaux's head by inches. The bullet, however, did strike the window of his Tesla. So you got to remember, at the time of this shooting, Brandon was recently separated from Lori's niece, Melenie Boudreaux, at the time. Police reports suggest that Lori and her fifth husband, Chad Daybell, along with her brother, Alex Cox, told Melenie Boudreaux that Brandon had this dark soul. This soul, allegedly, was one of the darkest ever known, the soul of Hitler. But also, there was only a few people that knew where Brandon had moved recently after he and Melenie separated. And that would be his estranged wife, Melenie Boudreaux. Brandon alleged that she most likely told Alex Cox exactly where he was and what time he would be there. But if you're expecting to see court papers of any kind suggesting that Melenie Boudreaux played a part in this, well, you won't. And that is a red flag for everyone following this case. Why is it that Melenie Boudreaux isn't behind bars along with her Aunt Lori? Her Aunt Lori is already, serving multiple life sentences in Idaho for the murders of her two youngest children, Vallow and Tylee Ryan, and conspiring to kill her new husband, Chad Daybell's first wife, Tammy Daybell. She also was convicted for conspiring to kill her estranged husband, Charles Vallow. Melenie Boudreaux, who was part of this cult, somehow escaped any kind of punishment for her role in knowing, or allegedly knowing, what was happening. In November of 2019, during her and Brandon's separation, after his attempted murder, Brandon Boudreaux kind of went in hiding, and can you blame him? We know that if you follow my series, Life Beyond the Grave, we're at the part where Melenie Boudreaux has admitted that her children are dark. Her Aunt Lori has deemed her oldest, I believe it's her oldest, don't hold me, I'll have to go back over my notes, as a dark spirit. So probably becoming a zombie. During this time, Brandon Boudreaux's putting the dots together and figuring out, when people are deemed dark, you are a target for murder. After Brandon went in hiding, Melenie Boudreaux at the time was trying to get custody of her children. She was trespassing on people's property. She was bringing up false documents. She was even arrested for her role in trespassing on people's property. So they also said that she was, had something to do with domestic violence. Or, let me say it more accurately, charged with a domestic violence enhancement. Now, Melenie Boudreaux during this time was saying that her husband was gay. that he was a liar. She was the victim in this case of this horrible divorce. She had no concerns of the horrible environment that her children had surrounding them. And Brandon's main objective at this point is to keep him and his children safe. So Melenie Boudreaux had the cops called on her several times in November of 2019. And we're going to view pieces of the body cam and listen to some of the audio. Because what we're trying to figure out is why the heck is Melenie Boudreaux Pawlowski running the streets? And why is it she's allowed around her children? There's no doubt in my mind that police were able to gain enough evidence to show her involvement with this cult and her support to the cult, her support in the ranking system, and her constant inquiry of blessings. She has more than enough proof showing her support to her Aunt Lori even after the kids went missing. Which kids? That would be JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan, Lori Vallow's children. She knew that they were deemed zombies. She knew they were deemed dark, just like Charles, who was shot, Tammy, who was killed, and her husband, or estranged husband, his attempted shooting. Some people believe that there was this immunity for her, but if you watch past trials, she wasn't a very good witness, if she was at all, if she even was on a stand. What the heck is going on with this case and the two Melenies? What is going on with this? Why is it they're getting an immunity? Because we're not seeing much of anything that they're helping with police. Nothing. So let's go ahead and watch some of this video. Now keep in mind, if you're new to this case, most everything that Melenie Boudreaux says in this is a lie. She tries to make it look like Brandon's hiding with the kids just to be cruel to her. Not the fact that he was shot at. And she thinks that the police don't know what's going on, but they're kind of knowing a little bit better than usual. And how she has these court papers and that, basically she's acting like this is her first attempt. She's already tried before, but she's not telling these cops that. She's straight up trying to manipulate these officers.
Trying to show that I was going to bring this copy to them and say, this is my time with the kids.
Okay.
He's had them out of state, and he's been lying. Everyone's protecting them. Like, I know they're nice. My in-laws are nice people, but they've been lied to, saying that there's a protection order in place, and there isn't. My kids I'm worried they're in danger, because my husband's been doing a lot of things that cause me to worry. He says he was shot at a month ago, and then he went into hiding, and no one in Arizona has seen him for weeks or my children, and he kept them out for over a month with truant absences. I asked an officer to just come over here last night to just make sure they're safe, and he said I can't do a welfare check or a wellness check.
So did you not hear me when we were talking to you on the phone the other day and said we came here because you were here. We came here, we checked on the kids, they were okay.
Are you talking about yesterday or the day before?
The day before.
I heard, and I had to call in because I didn't know if that was, I just heard something on speaker. I didn't hear everything. I heard that it wasn't super clear, and so I called in the next day and I said, can you, because I don't want to have to go over there again, can you send an officer to come check in?
Came over here anyways when we told you that you
I
trespassed. It doesn't matter, right?
Well, my children are inside and they're probably in danger.
They're probably in danger, you know that for sure?
Well, I know what my ex is capable of, and he has a lot of evil people working with him, so I just wanted to make sure my kids were safe last night. And the officer...
So do you think
I need to speak to a victim's advocate.
Okay. But you were trespassed, correct? You remember that on the phone?
I asked you if you understood. You said you did. So.
Okay.
So you understand you're trespassed, right?
Yes, but I believe with my order, I can come and just get my child. I'm not going in.
Nope.
Not going into the house.
Nope. You're trespassed from the property. You being on the lawn right now is a violation of that trespass.
Well, I can get off.
Well, it doesn't really matter now.
I'm not trying to barge into their house or trying to take my kid. I'm just trying to be peaceful, trying to do what's right and what's in my order.
So this an order from Arizona?
Yes, it is. They're illegally out of state right now. Like, he's keeping them out of school for over a month. I've been searching for them. I don't know what else to do. I asked someone to just come over and see if they're safe last night. And Carlson probably scared them off, saying there's a protection order. There's no protection order. We can go and look everything up right now.
Okay.
I haven't seen or talked to my kids. I have a 2-year-old, 4-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 9-year-old. And they haven't seen their mom for over, and my husband's been doing drugs, and he's...
Well, this is probably not the best way to go about it, right? To come here and try to...
I tried asking if an officer could just make sure they're safe.
We told you.
But I was told, right? I have a mediation, I have this court order saying it's my time with the kids. If I know where they're at, I can go and get them.
No, so you can't come over here and forcefully take them.
Not forcefully, I'm just knocking, saying I was going to get them in order because I know they've been lied to, saying there's a protection.
That's something that you're going to have to take up with the courts, right? Like we told you the other day. You're going to have to go to
I don't know if they're safe, and I feel like they're in danger.
We can go in there and check and see if they're safe. And then we can come back here and we can tell you they're safe. Stop talking. Stop talking, okay? We can go in there, check if they're safe, but we already trespassed you from this property saying you can't come back here. And what you came back here. And it doesn't matter if you got this piece of paper. We told you not to come back here, and you come back here and you're upsetting everybody, and now it's just a whole freaking problem. So your whole thing is here is just you want to come here and check if they're safe? You want a welfare check on them?
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
And it's my time.
Yeah, so that's another problem, right? So this is a whole civil problem. This is a whole court thing, okay? Because even if you do come here with these papers and say, yep, it's my time, they're not giving them back to me, then the only thing you got to do is go to the courts and you got to say, hey, listen, if these are signed by a judge down there in the court or whatever, he can say, you know what, this is your time, let's get this back in court, let's have him come back to court, let's do this, then we can give you a report number, and we can stop talking to him, explaining some things, okay? Are you understanding what I'm saying?
I am, sir.
So this isn't the best way to go about things.
You can bring up everything to the judge. You think he's doing drugs, that he's been getting shot at, and that it's not a safe environment for your kids. But what you can't do is come to a place where you've been trespassed.
Sir, I just thought with my order that it's okay. Thank you.
So now there's a bigger problem here because we trespassed you and you weren't supposed to be on here and you're causing alarm to them and everything like that. Who's your judge down there? You don't know your judge? Who signed your papers? Where'd you even get these papers from?
They were mailed to me.
Do you live in Arizona?
Sir.
Was this done in mediation or in court? Because I don't see anything.
It's a court ordered.
So I don't see anything signed by a judge.
I have the copy with more signatures if you need to see that. This was just for them. I was just bringing them to them because I know they've been lying.
This is a mediated settlement agreement, not a court order.
Yes, the court mediation is...
Well, if it was done through mediation, it's not through the court. That just means that you guys sat down with the mediator, you agreed on something. This is not something that's been enforced by a judge.
It has, sir. I have the paperwork in the car.
So you guys went to court, you sat there with the judge,
Yes,
made a determination.
Let's grab that real quick. So
Yes, absolutely, sir. And I have
Before Brandon Boudreaux was shot at, what he suspected to be possibly her involved, along with her uncle Alex Cox and Lori Vallow, her aunt, he and Melanie were sharing the custody of the kids just fine. But after he was shot at, after knowing what he knew about Charles Vallow, and knowing what he knows about Tammy Daybell during this time, and what he knows about the children, Brandon Boudreaux is fighting for his safety and the safety of his children. He is not the type of guy to hold a grudge. But if you were to listen to Melenie Boudreaux, he is a terrible liar. He's gay. He's taking drugs. He's being shot at because of his involvement of what? Well, the truth is, his involvement with her. Melenie Boudreaux is mimicking her Aunt Lori nearly perfectly. She's the victim. She hasn't done anything wrong. She's just concerned about her children's safety. Just like Lori right now, she's concerned about JJ's safety. That's why she won't share where JJ is with the cops. That he's dead in the ground, treated like trash. That's not keeping a child safe. And so Brandon Boudreaux was smart at this time to do what he was doing. But guys, let me tell you, it didn't stay that way. Melenie Boudreaux was able to see her kids again. And she's an spitting example, in my opinion, of her Aunt Lori, another ticking time bomb that they're going to make a huge mistake allowing her to have any type of say-so over her own children. This is something Lori did for years herself, got away with it, told everybody else it was a bad divorce. He's the problem, not me. Makes you wonder, did Melenie Boudreaux say sorry? I admit that I was part of a murderous zombie group, that I was a bad influence and a dangerous person to my family. So I'm going to get counseling. The thing is, will counseling help her? No, it won't, guys. If she is a spitting image of Lori Vallow, she's just doing what she needs to do to gain the trust so that she can continue to manipulate people as she likes to do. And so, this is where things become very interesting in the Brandon Boudreaux trial coming up. People are waiting. We did not see her speak for the Charles Vallow trial. Why? Did she manage to find a way to be treated as a victim, something she likes to be treated as? Is she being protected from having to face the consequences of her choices and her actions? I must say it again. Melenie Boudreaux is a dangerous, dangerous manipulator. That's based off my research and my understanding of what I've learned about Melenie. I believe it was a huge mistake to allow her to come back into the life of those children without supervision. So we'll continue watching some of this police footage, body cam, where Melenie is trying her best to make Brandon Boudreaux look like he's the crazy guy. He's the one that's a danger to her children. Although he's not the one supporting people that deem her children zombies. Although he's not supporting people that will later be convicted of murder. It's one thing to forgive someone, but it's another thing to forgive them and then allow them to be in your life. Melenie Boudreaux continued her smear campaign of Brandon Boudreaux, claiming that he was even connected to the mafia. I guarantee you, if he was connected to the mafia, a shot at his head and her trying to take the kids away from him, she wouldn't be alive. I'll go ahead and tell you now that all these accusations that Melenie said about Brandon Boudreaux smearing his name, saying he's gay and does drugs, he ended up suing Melenie and her attorneys. All right, let's listen to a little bit more of this body cam.
Were you guys looking at my car as well?
Nope, you're good. You can keep on going, man. You're good.
Yeah, we have.
I'm gonna go run away with the kids somewhere, and it's very dangerous. So I don't know if I have this and it says it's my time to live with. How do
Actually, does it say in the court order that you guys have a set schedule? It says that you guys are going through mediation.
We do. It's in here. It's just laying there.
Flexible parenting.
No, we have. We have set days, set weekends, and so we did set all of that.
Well,
and there's a lot in here for.
Did, but in the court order, it doesn't specify a specific time frame or a set schedule. It says you have agreed in mediation to a flexible parenting department, which can change at any time. No set time for parents.
Okay, what do you recommend for, like, he's hiding with them for a month? Like, that's not allowed. He's out of state with them. He's kept them out of school. They just got unenrolled from their school in Arizona.
So like I'm saying, we're not going to force the kids to come with you. We're not going to drag them out or take them or whatever like that. So what I'm telling you is that you need to go to the courts as soon as possible. I know it might take a little bit of time. It might take a little bit of time and stuff like that, but that's the best way.
Can I ask you something? If they go in there and they're not all in there, then what happens?
We'll have to find out where they are. And we'll have to
Last
check on
night,
them.
right?
Yeah, that's why I said check on them. They're all good, but the problem is that you're coming here and you're causing alarm.
I'm not sure.
When we told you
This isn't
when we told you we're not allowed on that problem.
right, but if I have this and they have my children, they have no right to my kids. It's not even, they're not even with the husband, so is that an issue? He's there right now.
Yeah, I talked to him.
Brandon Boudreaux is there.
I don't know if he's there right now.
So they're not, they're in there. The in-laws have no rights to that, right? I don't know. I'm just trying to.
So what you asked me is what he needs to do, and if
This
everything
entire time, they don't notice that the alleged killer is sitting right in front of them. Or do they? Alex Cox, the man believed to have taken a shot at Brandon Boudreaux that October of 2019. Just remember, it's just been weeks or a month after that shooting. And if Alex Cox is the shooter, which we believe he is, man, it takes a lot of bacones to be there and sit in front of the police like that. And do police realize how much danger everyone is in being around Alex and Melenie? So, when we see court and trial coming up, Lori Vallow accused conspiracy to commit more murder of Brandon Boudreaux. Now, guys, remember, these are the same people. Melenie Boudreaux said that you shouldn't trust Melanie Gibb. I told you not to trust Melanie Gibb, making herself seem more trustworthy and understanding of what the group is doing. She was part of the ranking systems. She's also understands how to work her way up the chain of leaders for the 144,000. The lack of remorse and concern for the safety of her children and her estranged husband at the time was very concerning. Red flags all over the place. When you understand that Brandon Boudreaux did nothing at all to deserve any of it. Lori Vallow will come face to face with Melenie Boudreaux in court. Well, it seems like that's something they're trying to go out of their way to prevent. Why? If they can prosecute Lori without Melenie Boudreaux testifying, I think that's their goal. That's my opinion. But this one's going to be difficult, especially if she comes in as a witness when she was considered to be part of the planning of the conspiracy at one time of the shooting of Brandon Boudreaux. There's no doubt that police suspected and seen her as a person of interest during this investigation. And the fact that she was the only one that knew where Brandon lived at the time really didn't make it look any better. I'll try to do another video on this where we discuss more on what we can expect with the Brandon Boudreaux trial coming up. Just know that Melenie Boudreaux was arrested once. She knew the police told her to stay away from Brandon, but she refused to do it, and she tried to make it look like she was trying to save her children from danger that didn't exist with Brandon Boudreaux and his family. However, if police had taken those kids away and put them into Melenie Boudreaux's possession, would have put them kids in some serious danger. Charles Vallow knows all too well about how that works because Lori Vallow and Melenie seem to be spitting image of one another. So this is my opinion on how I feel about it. I feel like she should be behind bars. I don't understand how she's being treated like a victim and why. Share your thoughts below, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm in a hurry. Love you. See you soon.